Hello, welcome to the stream. Happy Thursday. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. And it's good to see it looks like the mic is working today. We had some problems yesterday. I'm not exactly sure what happened because everything was plugged in and it was working fine when I was doing checks before the stream. And then for some reason, it just didn't want to work yesterday. So I think like the first 10 minutes of the stream, not counting the intro, so probably like the first 5 minutes, I think, of me being on screen, can't hear me. And I apologize for that. But it's working today. That's wonderful. Anyway, hello. How are you doing? I am doing really good. I am looking forward to this weekend for a couple of reasons. One, it's the weekend. And two, I actually have a free weekend, which is wonderful. Those don't happen very often. So I am actually kind of considering maybe doing like a bonus stream. Probably on Saturday and probably with probably my Guild Wars 2 shenanigans. I've got a lot of stuff I need to do in that game, and I don't want to interrupt our flow with our Mondays. We've been playing with Phlox in Guild Wars 2 on Mondays, so I'll probably go on some other characters, and like I got some mat collecting I gotta do. I gotta do some events and stuff because Mama needs the ecto. So I might do that. I'm not sure exactly what time yet, but check in with my schedule here on Twitch, and it'll pop up soon. I'll make a decision, I think, tomorrow. But as for today, we're gonna be jumping back into Everafter Falls and pick up where we left off, and hopefully satisfy a little bit more of my collection itch. I'm really enjoying the collection aspect of this game. It's really cool. So we're going to be doing that. We're actually going to be ending a little early today because I do have something going on later tonight that I don't get to participate in very often. So my fiber arts friends are getting together tonight, and I've unfortunately not been able to make it the past few meetings. So I am going tonight. So that means that we're probably going to end the stream around 4-ish. 4 p.m. my time, so probably in a couple hours. So instead of the full 3, we'll just do like a couple today. So, I don't think there's any other housekeeping things to do. I think that is it. So let's get the game open. Let's jump back in. Let's launch this puppy because I'm ready. We need to make a furnace today because our little shell thing didn't count. Let me put you there. And it's loading. Come on. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, day 10. Oh, I forgot to look up how many days. Let me see if I can do that now real quick. I had a really busy night last night, so I wasn't able to look up things like I had hoped. So... Everafter Falls. Off to the internet. I'm sure it won't fail me. 30 days. Okay. Oh. Are we lagging a little bit there? There we go. We struggling a little bit. That's okay. Sometimes we have struggle days. That happens. Okay, so we need to make a furnace. Nope, that's that. Okay, furnace. We need stone, brick. So it's a good thing that we did make that shell crusher thing, because I think that makes bricks for us. And then we need to make rope. How do we make rope? Spinning wheel. Ooh, okay, perfect. Yeah, so we need... Okay. So we'll go get a bunch of shells for our shell machine and make bricks for our spinning wheel, and then make more stuff for our furnace. Do I have any seeds in my inventory? No. You know what? Let's get growing. We need to make some money too. Oh, not here. Oh, can I shake the tree? Neat. Got a mulberry. Oh, where are you at? Where am I? I need to go up. Okay. Still learning where all of the houses are. There's Freya. Freya has our seeds. And I want some blueberries. We have 20 days. So I think we can get at least one out of there. One or two harvests. One harvest maybe. I should have bought these right away, but I was not really thinking about it. I don't think we've gotten corn. So let's get a couple of those. I also want to add these to the museum. Did I get chili seeds? I got soybean seeds. Ooh, the spendy. Let's just get one for now. I already got strawberries and I already grew wheat. How much are the trees? Okay, they don't have apple today. I wonder if it cycles on a daily basis, because last time I could have sworn they had apple. Okay. Okay, how many seeds total do I have? 7. Well, let's go ahead and just do the whole thing. Make him work for his dinner. Yeah, it's very interesting how your pet does a lot of this work for you. And honestly, I don't mind. It is taking a little getting used to this whole area select business. But we're getting there. Okay, buddy, you gotta water. You gotta water for me. I would love if my cats could do this for me. Especially in the summertime. Oop. Okay, I did get that one. Because it gets hot and I don't want to go outside. I wilt when it gets warmer than 72 degrees. Oh, let's... I want to open up my inventory a little bit for shells. space for the shells. Where's the way out? Here it is. Maybe we'll find some shells to give to the museum. That would be great. Gotta practice my fishing. Oh, I didn't. Silly me. I think I need to click again. I don't know if I can reach. Nope. That's okay. Let's try this one. Oh. Oh, I don't know. Maybe? Oh, good. We got one. Oh, we got two. We got a mackerel and a spark. Oh, cool. We'll have to put that in the aquarium later. I know when it comes to like, I talk about Stardew a lot when I play this game, but like in Stardew, I have the hardest time fishing. It's so difficult, for me at least, trying to get that thing just right. We got a ooh. Oh, no. Too far away. Maybe if we get like a modifier that makes our casts go longer, maybe that'll help. Is this the only... There's another one up there. I should try looking up there for shells too. Because we only found a few shells here. Oh, do you need to talk to me? Ah, Niana, I wanted to give you something. I have this spare tapping kit lying about from when I used to have enough energy to spend all day tapping trees. I think you'd find more use from it these days. You can have it on one condition. Do you think once you use it to get some maple syrup, you'd be able to give me some? It's important not to make promises you can't keep, so I'll give you some time to think about it. Okay. I think that would be great. I love maple syrup. Real maple syrup. So good. Yes, let's donate this little guy. Oh, there he is. Or she. Cute. Ooh, mushroom. Ready to decide? Are you sure you'll give me some maple syrup when you manage to get some? Yes. Then it's a deal. Here you go. Use it on a maple tree and you'll get some maple sap from it after some time. Then you can use an evaporator to get some maple syrup. You might be wondering why I'd want maple syrup for. When using it as a topical ointment, it is unbelievably good at soothing old joints. That's different. It's very, very sticky. I don't know if I would use it as a topical ointment, but to each their own. Try it when you get as old as me, okay? All right. Ooh, palm fruit. That's new. Oh yeah, we need to go to the museum, which is south, but over. Let's go this way. Oh, hello. Long time no see. Hello, hello. How you doing? How was the rest of your run through the Fissure of Woe? Oh, I forgot where I was going. I got distracted. See, it happens to me too. Well, welcome in, everybody. We're just having a chill day, playing a little Everafter Falls. Normally I do a lot of Guild Wars stuff, but we're taking a little break and doing some rotating new games. Okay, where I need to... Food. This is a really cute game if you like games like Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, stuff like that. Really good game for that. Definitely satisfying my need to collect things. I like to collect. So we're just checking it out. This is day 2, so we haven't done a whole lot yet. But I was talking earlier about I'm thinking about Saturday maybe doing a bonus stream in Guild Wars 2. I have a lot of things that I want to do in that game. And I feel like getting into some trouble. Some good trouble. Oh, that's right. Where is that place again? There. It is very Stardew feeling. There's a few different twists. You've got a pet that helps you with your gardening. And I think it sounds like we're gonna get drones eventually. So I'm kind of curious to see what that's all about. You forgot, you missed out the intro. Oh my gosh. The intro to this game is you're going to like cross a street and you look both ways and you step out and you get hit by a car. So that was interesting. I'm still learning my way around here. Okay, I think I need to go back. Yeah, it was quite a beginning. Quite a beginning. So they definitely got my attention. But then you wake up from your simulation to this is apparently the real world and Earth is the simulation. So okay, there's a bridge somewhere up here. Then maybe I can follow the road. Oh, okay. Any shells? Ooh. So right now we're hunting shells. I need these to put in my shell crusher to make bricks. So I can make a spinning wheel, so I can make rope, so I can make a furnace. Kinda, yeah. So yeah, this is a very new to me game. Just came recommended since I played Stardew a lot. So far I'm enjoying it. Quite a lot to keep you busy. Oh, do I have full? I do have full inventory. Okay. Keeps busy. And it sounds like if you stay out too late, there are little ghosts that come after you. I think that's kind of like your penalty, like in like how Stardew, if you stay up too late, you get knocked out, and I think you lose some of your stuff. Oh, I need to free up my inventory. Go bug hunting. Oh shoot, where do I go? Oh, there are stairs there. It's quite a maze. Getting through the map though. You and you. You and you. Oh no, I do this all the time. Let me try that again. Okay, you for sure, and you, but I need the shells. Okay. Now, do I... Oh, just one at a time. Okay. So I think today is going to be the last day for this game. Just wanted a little taste to see what this game was about. And I think we're going to start, well, we'll do Guild Wars 2 on, well, Saturday for the bonus stream. And then Monday, we'll get back to our shenanigans with Phlox and Guild Wars 2. And I'm not sure what to play on next Wednesday and Thursday for our rotating games. I'm not sure yet. Ooh, our brick is ready. Excellent. Yeah, I think that'd be great. That would be wonderful. It's such a good game. Oh, no, I'm going to take you to the museum. You guys are going to the museum. Are you going to start a new character? Yes, museum and shells. And what else do we need? And we have to find Cedric. Okay. Cedric is a robot that lives here. You'd have to buy a new slot. I know that feeling. I think I'm full up now. Finally. Going north. Are you gonna start all over with your ooh, bug. With your story? Sweet. Eagle Talon Dragonfly. Cute. Ooh, this is a new one. A plain conch. Oh, and they tell you how many bricks they can be crushed into. That's cool. 1 and 1. Oh, yes, the legendary amulet. It's very helpful. Very helpful. It does make a bit of a difference. And you get a really cool effect, too. Very neat, like, Aurora Borealis sort of thing. No, I want the mushrooms. There you go. It's kind of sad our music stopped. Yeah, definitely. I've been trying to do the End of Dragons, the Return to End of Dragons stuff. But I guess I've just not had the greatest luck because every time I go in, there's really like not a lot of people in the maps for the events. So I'm hoping this weekend it'll pick up a little bit. I'm hoping this just because people are at work or busy. Wrong way. Am I going the right way? Yes. Okay. Oh, I'll take that. Okay. Some good shells today. Oh, dang. I need to find a way to get like a larger backpack. I don't have that option yet. Oh, cute. I wonder why our music isn't playing. Normally the music plays. so quiet. So I've been going through my list of games. Oh, here it is. Almost went right past the museum. You can't miss it, really. My list of games, and my wish list is getting so long on Steam. I think I have like 83 games at least on there. I came across a really neat one that I want to play soon, and it's not called Solaris. Oh, what is it called? Shoot. Really neat horror suspense game. And it's got some really cool, like, retro, older graphics. But it's not an older game. I think it came out last year? Oh, I wish I could remember what it was called. This is going to bother me. Hold on. This is going to bother me. Let's see. It's called Signalis. That looked really cool. I want to try that. It came recommended because I played Dredge and Lethal Company. All right. Hey, thanks for stopping by and thanks for the raid. I really appreciate it. Have a good one. I'll try to catch you next time. Is it this one? Okay. Eagle Talon Dragonfly. Cross that one off the list. Okay, the shells go in the aquarium. I think the starfish go there too. Oh, Cedric, I need to talk to Cedric. That's right. Aren't flutterflies. Wow, that's a hard one to say. Beautiful. I can't help but marvel at all the wonderfully complex patterns and colors they put on display. It's really hard for me to approach them without scaring them off. The slightest clank of metal and away they fly. Say, could I ask you a favor? Could you catch one for me? I'm not too fussed which any flutterfly. Wow, that is so hard for me to say. Will do. I just want to be able to play with one for a while. I won't keep it. Just a look, okay? All right. I think we can do that. Where is that aquarium? I went past it. Oh my goodness. I need more signs. Just for me. I get lost. Okay, we're gonna put this one in here. Donate that shell. We'll donate the starfish, the red starfish, and the blue starfish. Oh, we're getting stuff in there. Very cool. And that is that. Okay. So that log. Catch any flutterfly and show it to Cedric. Okay. Ooh, we get a health potion as a reward. That's great. I'm sure that'll come in handy once we start adventuring into some more dangerous places. So, I think we'll make our way back because I'm pretty sure our brick is done. And on the way, I don't know if we'll find any. Oh, she's cute. Ren. It's so nice of her to let me stay with her. She's been nothing but supportive. Isn't she just the best? Oh, that's sweet. I have a terrible habit when I play games like this where it's really cute and I'm trying to like take in all of the artwork. And I'm like, ooh, that's a really cool tree. And I'm like running into a bush or something, or a house or whatever. Do I have things I can sell? Yes. Get those. Oh, let's clear I like a clean workspace. Let's clear this up. Our brick, and then... Okay, now... Oh, we can make our spinning wheel! Yes! We have a lot of rope we need to make. So... let's put... Can I put it up against that? Yes, that works. For now, we might move this stuff around later to make it look nice. There we go. Get some more fibers. We make some rope. We've got a couple fairies we got as like a little quest reward. So this one is harvesting wood every day, and this one is harvesting rock every day, which is handy. So I guess you get fairies that you can have help you out and harvest stuff for you. And I'm not quite sure. I think this is like an old barn. So we'll be getting... I'm getting like farm animals, I think, later. I think it's a barn. It looks like it. Kind of reminds me of the Stardew barn. But it looks like it needs some repairs. Ah, doors. Okay, doors to the outside. So we'll have to see what's up with that later. Can I... Oh, wow. 3 hours, 44 minutes. I'm assuming that's game hours. Okay. Oh, and brick is ready. Excellent. All this to make a furnace, so we can get one as a reward. Okay. 4 brick and 2 rope. Is there anything else we can make? Ooh. A shell extractor automatically extracts 2 shells from sand at the start of each day. Must be placed on sand. Additionally, shell crushers to the left and right of this produce a brick at the start of each day. Ew. Okay. We need to make a solar panel, though. How do you make a solar... Okay, this might be a little beyond us at the moment. Ooh. We can make hedges. I didn't really look at this last time. I was so a little overwhelmed with all of the things to do. And I didn't take a moment to look at all the things to craft. So we've got our solar panels, our taps, a pixie shrine. This shrine can be used to attract pixies, place a food offering inside, and come back the next day. Oh, cool. Oh, water drone. Oh, these are the drones, I think, that I heard of. Automatically waters an area of land. Add drone parts to increase its effective area. Starts working the following morning. And a harvest drone. Harvest all crops, trees in the area. Uncollected items and box are automatically deposited into shipping bin at the end of the day. Add drone parts to increase its effective area. Starts working the following morning. We got some parts. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Okay, I should probably stop looking for now, otherwise I'm going to get overwhelmed. Again. All right. Oh, let me put... Is it going? Did I put a shell in there? No, I didn't. Oh, silly me. Drag. And remember to drag, not click. Okay. Oh, and we gotta put our tap on a maple. What is a maple tree? Oh, it's getting dark, and I don't have a lamp or anything. I'm not sure which ones are maples yet. I want to say maybe these. Maybe it'll drop a seed and tell me. Oh, it's a pine. Okay. Maybe this one? I know it's not the pink swirly one. I know that for sure. I'm gonna need the extra wood anyway. I don't know which one is, but maybe I can check one of the shops. They might have seeds in there for trees. And maybe we could just grow one. To err on the side of caution, just grow a maple tree. Let's put the tap in here. It's a box tree. Oops. Oh, 3 bricks. That must have been a special shell. I wasn't paying attention. Ooh, that one does 2 bricks. That's cool. Okay. Well, I guess let's sleep. We'll start a new day. There's our rock and our wood. I do like this game. This is a really cute game. I know I keep saying that. I didn't really have any expectations for this game. Like I said, it just came recommended to me just because I played a lot of Stardew in the past, and I really like it so far. Not entirely too far into it, but I am enjoying it so far. I think this would be a really nice thing to play like on the side, because I do play a lot of Guild Wars. I am a big Guild Wars player. Guild Wars 2. But I always like to have a little something on the side to play, so I'm not playing Guild Wars all the time, because I'm afraid I'm going to get bored, and I don't want that to happen. So I can see myself getting sucked into this, like on a cozy weekend, you know, where it's blustery outside, and make yourself a nice cup of tea, maybe some snacks, and play this. I keep walking by these. I need to harvest them so I can sell them, because I need monies to support my growing habit. Okay, where are you again? I always overshoot. We need to go see Freya. Oh, there we go. There's Freya. Freya's got the seeds. Do you? No, you don't. I was kind of hoping. What is this thing? A lotus luminescence. Lotus pods thrown into water while wearing this will turn into lotus pads the very next day. But it needs a pink prize key. So this is one of those other like capsule machines. I'm wondering if I get the keys, if I earn them like going into the dungeony area. Oh, see, yeah, it does rotate. Cherry and orange. Mulberry and apple, but I need a lot more money. Okay. Oh, mushroom. Okay. And then we're working on that, and we can probably, I think we have enough wood we can deposit at Amy's. What sort of tree are you? I didn't get a seed. Okay. So do you have anything useful? Do you rotate around? Oh. Can be thrown into water to summon a fish. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Oh, you've rotated some of the stock. See, when we were in here last time, they had, we got a candle, but they had like a thing of pens and whatnot I was going to get. Notebook and pen. I do like that. That's cute. What's this? An ornate cup? Green bed sheets. What is this? A leaf placement. Oh, maybe so for like your table? Mushroom lamp, wall lamp. Those are clocks. Those were there last time. Comfy couch. Lily pad coffee table. This shelf can display 4 items. It's 300. I'm gonna think about that. Because we did get some books. Okay. You're a pine. A maple seed did drop for me once, but I can't remember what kind of tree it was. So we're gonna hack at some trees. We're gonna see if we can find out. Because it doesn't tell me anywhere what kind of tree it is. We're gonna need to clear these anyway at some point, so. It didn't drop for me. Are there any other different trees? That is the thing about new games. It takes you a while to learn the ins and the outs. Which I don't mind. Maple tree seed. Sweet. Okay, we're gonna grow that sucker up here, right? This is my house. We're gonna grow it. We'll grow it right back here. How about great. Oh, we need to water. I do love this, honestly. Being able to just right click and then drag and then my pet just does it for me. It's very convenient. I'm hoping that down the road that if I get drones, then they can do all of it for me. Hey, Blood, how you doing today? I love your little emotes. Okay, let's see, what was I gonna do? I was going to deposit wood at Amy's and maybe find a flutterfly on my way. Oh no, that's Cedric's place. Where is Amy? I thought she lived down... Where's Amy's place? There, Amy's project workbench. Okay, I was in the general vicinity. Oh, those are taps. That's cool. Okay. Oh, mushrooms. Oh, can I... Oh, no. Let me see. Can I scoot? Scoot? Not quite. can't reach. I need a modifier, I think. I went so past it. My goodness. Okay, now hopefully I should be able to... How do I... Maybe if I... Yes, there we go. Okay. I need to have it in my hand. I need to remember that. Okay, so we've got that. Where's the door? Have anything? Nope, nothing for the museum. I think we'll go check for shells because we need a lot of bricks, it looks like, for crafting. Ooh, that's new. I must need something special for these. No, maybe I just can't. This thing. Here grows the moonflower. It blooms only during the full moon at the end of each season. The flower may be harvested then. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna write that down because that sounds important and I'm gonna forget. I definitely need one for my museum collection. And sometimes if I don't write things down, I forget. And I don't want to forget that. Okay, aquarium. It's this way. I kind of want to stay up late and see what the ghosties look like because I haven't done that yet. Yay! Another sand dollar. Awesome. Yeah, I haven't done that yet and I want to see what happens, but I also want to make sure that I get special things out of my inventory in case I lose anything. Oh, that's a good... I need to remember that shortcut. Okay. So you guys for a little money. See, so these, okay, so this one stores 30, this one stores 40. This one also stores 40. Oh, different colors. White, onyx, and turquoise. Very cool. I have not checked. I did get rope from you. Okay. I am not good with keeping up with you. Did. I'm so used to just clicking and then it shows up. I gotta remember, I gotta drag. Okay, let's see. I don't think any flutterflies are out right now. We're working on that. kind of curious if there would be like any fireflies or anything like that out. Whoops. Ooh, lots of mushrooms. Nice. I love being able to get things off of lily pads with the fishing pole. Very cool. Let's try to get this fish while we're at it. Oh my gosh. Oh, almost. Oh, it did give it to me. Oh, I didn't think it went all the way in. Got a poco. You call this a fish? I think it's really cute though. We have that shortcut. I'm gonna go pop it in the aquarium before anything potentially bad happens. There it is. Oh, it's so cute. It's a little thing. It cracks me up. I love it. Ooh. Oh, I can't get those. That's right. They're just out of reach. Ah. Here we go. Oh, good. Got another brick done. I should make another one of these. And a black, oh, and of course I just put a black pippy in the machine. I need another black pippy. I don't think I have another one. Yeah. I gotta remember to save those. I have enough stone and wood, but just need another pippy. Back to the beach tomorrow I go. I'm just gonna run around and excuse me, maybe harvest some things. Spooklets will put you to bed in 1 hour. Ooh. Spooklets. Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Endosk. And hello and welcome. We're just having a chill day today. Playing a little Everafter Falls, checking this game out. It's new to me, but recommended since I played a lot of Stardew. The spooklets are coming. So that will keep the stone. I'm really hoping I don't lose anything. Like you do. Oh, what is this? What is this? Oh my, oh. Oh, this is so cute. Oh, they're coming from everywhere, aren't they? Do they follow me? They follow you in the next. Oh, how many spooklets can we get chasing us? Oh my gosh, they're coming so fast. Oh my god. They really do speed up. Nothing overshadows my desire to see you sleep well, little one. Oh, that's sweet. Well, that's nice. They do care about you getting your sleep. I do appreciate that. And it doesn't... I'm assuming I didn't lose anything. Awesome. Our rock and our wood from the fairies. Okay. You slept too soundly last night. You wake up later as a result. Okay. But I didn't lose anything. So I'm okay with that. Awesome. You just sleep in a little bit, which, I mean, is realistic. I sleep in when I stay up too late, which is admittedly not that late these days since I am a little older. And I do love my sleep. Okay, I think I've got enough stuff now. Let me see here. Crafting, furnace. Yes. Okay, furnace. We can do that. Made our furnace. Now, yes, that's what we needed to do. We needed to craft the furnace because for this sign, because this sign will only list like so many different machines, but not all of them. So excellent. I just want to place it. Can I place it? Maybe I've got a... Sorry, kitty. We'll move things around. But awesome. Let's go see Bram, I think was his name. Hey. Oh, no worries. Totally get it. You came from Jammy Biscuit? That's awesome. He's a fun streamer. I like his streams. They're very chill. And this is definitely cozy second monitor content, you know. Very chill. I like a good chill game in between my more active games. Okay, Bram. You're up there. I was mentioning earlier that I play a lot of Guild Wars. A lot of Guild Wars and a lot of Guild Wars 2. And I like having something a little different in between when I need a little bit of a break. This is definitely scratching that itch. Do you like the new job board I've set up? All thanks to you, I honestly would not have gotten around to it without your help. So upgrading your tools not only makes breaking things easier, it can open up places you couldn't previously get to. Just speak to me tool in hand with what you need upgrading and I'll do the rest. But I could have sworn I need to talk to you. Nope, to Sid. My bad. You were the other sign. Okay, Sid, where are you? Down we go. Started Guild Wars 2 around 2018 and tried Guild Wars 1 a few years later and also got hooked. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you got hooked. They are great games. And you know, Guild Wars 1 has really held up. I mean, 20 years old and she's still going. I love it. Am I in the right spot? Which house is Sid's? Oh, nope. Close. Nope. Nope. I've played, let's see, I started playing Guild Wars 1 shortly after it released. And then I started playing Guild Wars 2 when they did the pre-release. I need to go down a little further. Oh, Sid, there you are. And I've been loving both those games. Oh, you're trying to finish your haul. Oh, well, best of luck to you. There's a lot to do there. Whoa, hold on. You telling me you did the signpost task already? Well, since I'm too busy to go and have a look myself, I'll just have to take your word for it. Here you go then. That furnace I was talking about. Be gentle with it, all right? Another furnace. Well, that'll be good. Let's put it next to the other one. And then, let's see. I almost said finishing rod. A fishing rod with a base casting distance of 3 has 2 mod slots. An awesome fishing rod with a base casting distance of 4 has 3 mod slots. And an epic with a base casting distance of 4 has 4 mod slots. Okay. Oh boy. Where do I want to start? These components. Let's see, these are the components. Oh, we do have a silkworm. So let's make some more rope and go look for some sand dollars. Oh gosh, there's so many cool things to do. Okay. Well, we need to get this going for some more rope. There we go. Queue this? Oh, okay, I see. I can only queue so many at a time. Catch up. So cute. Oh good, we got some more black pippies. We gotta try out that other beach too. Assuming I don't get lost. Again, it happens a lot. I get lost a lot. But that's okay. Oh, mushrooms. Butterfly. A peekaboo flutterfly. That's right, they're not butterflies here, they're flutterflies. It's very hard for me to say. Oh no, I want to shake the bush. There we go. Let's see. If you're looking for games to play between Guild Wars, I highly recommend Clair Obscure if you haven't played that yet. Clair Obscure. That sounds really familiar. Is that a new game that just came out? Is it the expedition game? Beach. I was going to the beach. Yeah, Expedition 33. Okay, yeah, I have seen it, and it caught my eye. It definitely did. I am very interested to pick it up. So it's good to know that it came recommended. I will definitely check that out. I definitely have quite a growing list of games that I want to play on this channel. And a variety too. I want to play... Ooh, another maple seed. I want to play a variety of things in between all of my Guild Wars shenanigans, of which there are many. I think I have like 83 different games on my list right now. but I'm always looking for more. Oh, I wanted to talk to you, not Calvin. How cute. Hey, oh, you probably didn't notice, but I do have a wooden leg right here, see? It's a really long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it some other time. That could be an interesting story. There are definitely a few games that I am waiting for either release or an announcement of their release date. One of them is Tales of the Shire, or Tales from the Shire, because I am a Hobbit girl. I'm so looking forward to checking that one out. It looks very, very cute. And I believe it's done by Weta, who worked on the movies. So, also awesome. And then there's another game that a friend recommended because I play Guild Wars, and it's called Light No Fire, and it's got kind of a Guild Wars feel to it. Not quite like the massive population, but I think it has I think some of the functions kind of like Valheim, where you can play with others on your server, but it has kind of that Guild Wars feel. And it's kind of hard to explain. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a great job, but there are some aspects of the game that I'm like, oh gosh, this kind of does feel a little bit like Guild Wars. So there's no date release yet. They're still keeping that to themselves, but I am eagerly awaiting that announcement. This is from Pip and Pepper. This mail has been delivered to you from the maiden flight of the pigeon you rescued 10 days ago, attached as a token of appreciation. Oh, how cool. What'd they give us? Old treasure chest. An old treasure chest. Place it down and use a key, wooden or higher, to open it. Okay. Where do I want to put a treasure chest? I guess maybe just right outside my house? And then we can recycle this. I need to put another shell in there. And then we need... What was I gonna do? Oh gosh, there's so many things. Oh, that's right. Okay, we need wood, rope, and those sand dollars. And then... Okay, a beehive produces honeycomb. Bees are required to make this function. More bees increase production rate. Produces glass panels from various ingredients. How do you get black bricks? Oh boy, okay. Oh gosh. I wonder if I can get some of these at the shop. Oh, dark wood and white wood? Okay, oh gosh, there's so many things. All right, let's get to sleep. Oh, our strawberries are ready. Mine are almost ready in real life. I'm so excited. Green thumb. Nice. Got an achievement. I'm gonna need to, this weekend, I think, put the flash tape and the netting out so the squirrels and the birds don't steal my strawberries. I have quite a few of them that are gonna start turning red here. Okay. I do a lot of gardening in real life too, so I like these fun little games. Oh, I forgot one. In the off season, when I can't garden. Oh, I don't know why I did that. I needed one. I needed one to put in the shelving. Gotta keep that going. I need my breaks. There we go. Oh, thank you so much for stopping by, Endos. Hope to see you again sometime. Have a good one. Oh, I need more grass. I think a minimum of 5. Well, we definitely have plenty over here. Okay, now what can I put in here? Oh, I guess I need to have something before I can preview it. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'll plant you. I'll plant you before we leave. I want another maple tree. Cool. Okay. Oh, we can take this to Cedric, right? He just wanted any of them. Okay. Where are you? There you are. Oh, I have to hold it. Here we go. I've been working on a project to travel into space and wouldn't mind some help with it. I've already built the workbench that will assemble the rocket I need. If you could spare the materials, please deposit them at my workbench. I would be more indebted to you than I already am, but I will repay you someday, somehow. Okay. Oh, wow! I love how some of these words are rainbow. That's really cute. That's a really beautiful specimen you have there. Can I have a look at it? Yes. Thank you so much, Niana. It's perfect. I don't have any use for these. Dawn held a potion making class a while ago, and these are what I made. I hope they are some use to you. Thank you again. You've made my day. 12 of 24. Awesome. On our way. So I get to keep... Oh, he just wanted, I think, to look at it. So, oh, and I got the health potions. Sweet. Okay. Let's just go to the museum. Is it? Yes. Oh, not open quite yet. All right. Well, let's go to Pip and Peppers and recycle that note and get some shells, I guess. Okay. Oh, just one more. Oh, so cute. We've got some fruit. Some yummy berries. Excuse me. Ooh, that's a neat shell. A milky star conch. Oh, what's happening here? A cactus flower. Oh, I see. I get their purpose now. Okay. So every so often they bloom and you get to take the flower. need to pay more attention. We're over here. We can take them to the museum. Do you have... Yes, I saw it hiding up in the branches. Mulberry. Oh. Oh, right. So, oh, here we go. There's strawberry. And what else do we have that's... Where do you belong? Oh, right there. Oh, that's just gems and stuff. Where does... Was this over here? Maybe? Oh, it was. I just wasn't paying attention. There we go. This one's almost done. I think this might be the moonflower. Yeah. We need to add to that. We need to get fluff somehow. I'm not entirely sure. Still learning how to deal with that. And then let's see. We need to go to the aquarium. Donate. Where did it end up? Oh, right there. Of course, the best place to hide something from me is right in front of me. Did we water these? I don't think we did. Look at me neglecting my gardening duties. Shame on me. All right, rope and brick. Actually, put you over there. Hold on to that. Oh, come on, there we go. There we go. Earn us a little bit of money. Okay. Still working on that weather oh, and we need to help Hersha cook. Oh, I wonder if we're going to learn how to cook. Okay, so we need to find Hersha. And Hersha is all the way over there. Not too far away from us where we are now, but kind of in that corner. Is this one? Yes. Oh, how... Oh, this is adorable. The targeting is a little strange. It does take a little getting used to in here, but it's not terrible. It's today already? I could have sworn it was supposed to be next week. Oh, sorry. Is the farm in okay shape? Ah, the memory thing. Right. I'm Hersha. We're like BFFs. I'm sure you'll remember soon. Sure. You probably think that I must be amazing at cooking, owning a bakery and all. In actual fact, I'm terrible. I couldn't cook if my life depended on it. Now you know why I don't have any baked goods for sale, only ingredients. I want to change all that and start serving everyone proper food in the cafeteria upstairs of the bakery. Well, actually, I want you to serve them. You're a far better cook than I could ever hope to be. I just need to see if your cooking skills are still up to scratch. There's a mixing bench in the bakery that you can use. Could you mix flour and butter in there for me? Once that's done, give me the raw bread base that you produce from that, okay? Okay. That's the mixing bench. So I need to get... Do I... Okay, hold on. Okay, create raw bread using the mixing bench. Add flour and butter. Press F. Okay, so I guess I need to acquire the ingredients. Where? Oh, hold on. I think they were right here in front of me the whole time. Flour. Is this butter? No, that's rice. Where's butter? Butter is expensive. Butter is 560, huh? All right. But we're apparently BFFs, so that's what we're doing. We're gonna help our BFF out. And then oh, that's cute. Okay, so that's our bread base. Did she leave? She did. Okay, hold on. I need to find her. I'm still waiting on that raw bread base. Let me know when you have it. Oh, I didn't have it selected. There we go. Hope is so overrated. All it seems to lead to is disappointment for me. Oh, that's sad. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Wow, you did an amazing job. The texture of this is impeccable. Okay, now that I know your skills are still in great form, I think we should start our meal service again. We used to do this often when you were around, before your most recent adventures on Earth, that is. Everyone has been nagging me about starting it up again now that you're back, but I wanted to wait for the right time to see if you're ready. Well, it looks like you are. I'll make some preparations and then let you know when we'll be holding an event at the cafeteria. Just keep an eye out in your quest log for a request from me. We'll hold it around twice a month. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, a cooking mini game. So this thing has mini games. Oh boy. Never-ending list of things to do. I guess that's good. I guess there are worse problems to have. Please keep this area clean. It's like a cute little park. Can I get this? Or do I? Yeah, I think I need that modifier. What is this? The Pixie Deposit Chest. Pixies will deposit any items they harvest into this box. If full, items may be discarded, so please empty often. Oh, it's like free stuff. I'll take that, thank you. Oh, what's this? Would you like to contribute 10 stone to this project? Okay. Oh, I think I've got quartz and I've got wood. I'll need to go get the wood and quartz. Where is this? Okay. Oh, it's right next to Sid's store. Okay. And then I had quartz. I want to repair that and see what that is. Yes, we'll contribute the quartz. And is there anything else? Wood. Yes. What did we do? Oh, is this like a fairy shrine? Oh, place an offering here, then check back tomorrow for a chance to attract a pixie. Oh, okay. That's cool. There we go. So we can use the pixies to help us around our gardens and stuff. Get materials for us, I guess. And we do have a small pixie bottle. So we have to figure out what lures them. What draws them. Oh, it's getting late. We should sleep. Oh, 170 today. That's not too bad. Oh gosh, we're doing meal service already? Oh, I bet that's the message. Oh, this is from Daisy. Just a reminder that the duck racing event is on tomorrow. I'll be waiting near the town aquarium between 11 and 4. The event lasts 1 hour. The meal service thing starts today. Oh, today. This is for tomorrow. Oh my gosh. I need a calendar. Okay. We still need more sand dollars. But I also want to see what this meal service thing is about. So we gotta go check that out. I think it was in here. And I go upstairs? Oh my goodness. Why can't I go in? I'm a little confused. I thought the doors would open. I see that. There's something there prompting me. Do I need to maybe go talk to her? Is she downstairs? Oh gosh. More things to collect, to make and collect. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Where is she? Is she in here somewhere? Oh, I love that. That is really cute. That owl trinket. That's so cute. I also love owls. I love cats, but I also love owls. Yeah, but she's not there. I wanted to see what this meal event thing is about. But we may have to skip it since I can't go inside. Yeah, that's too bad. I'll have to read up on that. I guess it happens every so often, so it's not like I'm missing out. Oops. Go around the bushes. Oh wait, here she is. Hold on. Would you like to test out your cooking skills in the cafeteria today? You can win some great prizes. Sure. All right, let's start then. I'll gather all our guests for today. Ah, I see. Okay. Cook as many dishes for today's hungry guests within the given time. You score 1 point for every dish served. Win 1 prize from below if you reach the target score. Stone, wood, or wood. Okay, I was kind of hoping it would be something a little special, like one of those colored keys for the different capsule machines we saw, but hey, materials are important. I don't know how this is going to go, by the way. This could go really bad, so please don't judge me. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're making flour and butter in the mixing bench. Okay, and then croissant in the oven. Add the following ingredients. More butter, of course, yes. Very important. Egg toast, okay. Raw bread base. And then with the chicken egg, and we're making popcorn. Okay, kernels and butter. We'll see what happens. Okay. What do I need to get here? Flour. Oh, I see. Okay. And I can't go any faster than this. Okay, then I need that, and I need an egg. Nope, I didn't want to do that. Can I get it out of there? Oh, I don't know if I can... Was it in the oven? Oh, shoot. Oh, this frying pan. Oh, it won't let me take it out. Oh my gosh. And you can only take one ingredient at a time. Oh, this is exciting. And I probably just messed all this up. Do I... That's trash. Oh my gosh. You almost need like another person to help with this. Oh no, I didn't mean to put it back in there. Can I just... That's garbage, okay. Okay, get an egg. Oh, this is challenging as all heck. At least I find this challenging. Sure, once I get the hang out of it, it won't feel quite as bad. Oh, I thought you were going to be done. Oh, that person doesn't want popcorn anymore. Or they're gone. Okay. Oh my goodness. into the pan with some eggs. How do I make the croissant? Is that just a croissant? More and then butter. Okay. With more butter. Oh, I have sad. I am so sorry. I have sad faces. I'm doing my best. It burned. Oh no. Didn't win anything. That's okay. It was a good try. It was a good try. Now I have an idea of how it goes, and hopefully next time it'll go better. All right. Let's see. That's tomorrow. Oh yeah. Been meaning to come in here. Wait. Is their name Strawberry? Oh, that's so cute. Chickens, a llama. That's right, that's the teleportation stone. Oh. So if we want to adopt somebody, we got some sweet ones. We got a spicy. It looks like Baxter's a spicy one. Kind of want to adopt them. Okay. Wait. No, wait. I think we need to restore the barn first. Got 15 days. Space. Go get some more seeds. I always forget where Freya is. Freya has the seeds. There we go. $35 gold, 25. Ooh, 9. Okay. Maybe we'll do some more carrots. They grow pretty quick. And they're pretty inexpensive. Okay. Our music stopped again. It's kind of strange how it does that. Oh, there it is. Squirrely there. There we go. Awesome. Okay. What do I want to craft next? Oh, we need more sand dollars. That's right. We need those little sand dollars. But I'm pretty sure... Maybe one more rope. Sorry, I keep looking out my window. We're having some construction going on in our area. And the city's putting in broadband, which is great because it's going to offer some speeds that I think are a little faster than what we currently have. But they're working now right outside my house, and they just pulled up a really big truck and they're blocking my driveway, and I have to leave in like 20 minutes or so. So, excuse me. I'm kind of curious to see if they'll be finished by the time I have to head out. If not, that's okay. I'm sure they'll do their best to get out of the way. It's fine. Okay, sand dollars. The little ones, not the big ones. I do kind of want to build that sand dollar machine too. That's a really cool sounding, very convenient thing. Oh, I don't know if I've gone. Did I go up here? Oh, there's not really much of anything. We didn't get this flower. Oh, there they go. They moved. There, didn't even need to worry about it. I don't know why I'm going this way. I want to go to the other beach on the other side. There's a little wormy or caterpillar. One caterpillar. Ooh. Get some berries. Some yummy berries. Okay, I think that's all, because I think we've got one in the storage, so I think that is all three. Got some extras too. Other shells. That's not what I'm trying to get. There we go. Down the road we'll be able to get more teleportation stones or something just to make travel a little faster. rope. Oh, am I full up? I think I might be full. It's a good thing that the shop is right here. Save those. It's a regular-sized caterpillar placed in a critter terrarium. It will eventually turn into a cocoon. I think you can get them. You can get terrariums. Either make them. Okay, not here. So maybe you make them. Where did I... Ah. Critter terrarium. Okay. Ooh, for breeding caterpillars, flutterflies, dragonflies, and frogs. Oh, so we'll definitely have to do this. But we'll need to make glass panels. Gold bars, white marble, and water essence. Interesting. Oh, so much to learn. Oh my goodness. Okay, what did I need? I can make my silkworm farm. Ugh, words are hard sometimes. Especially today. Maybe I need more caffeine. Where do I want to put my silkwood farm? Maybe up here? And then I have 2. So let me put you here. And oh, that's funny. They just kind of hang out. Are these my blueberry bushes? No, they're not ready yet. Okay. Those are not ready. All right. There we go. Put that together. But I want to make more bricks, so... Okay. Oh, it's after 9. I guess we'll do one more day and then call it. Since I have to head out, go see my Stitchy friends. 107. Not bad. Is that gold? Or is that a type of coin? So today is the duck race, I think, is what Daisy was saying. Gotta water the plants before we leave. They're just kind of chilling, having a good time in their little silkworm home. I think Daisy said behind the aquarium? What does this mean? Oh, returning. Oh, I see. Okay. They port to me. Mushrooms. There we go. Oh, does that mean that I can do this too? Nice. See, we're learning. We're learning. What's that? Oh, that's just stones. Okay. Oh, between 11. We're way early. Between 11 and 4. Okay. We are very early. Can we maybe pop up to Hip and Pepper, I think. Maybe recycle this and get our organic page. Because we don't need this. Awesome. Recycle 24 letters. Organic paper fragment. 3 of these can be crafted into a blank organic card, perfect for printing. Okay, oh, whoops. All right. What is that? Oh, cute. Blue lake frog. You also have a palm fruit. Trying to remember, I think the middle one? Yes. Blue lake frog. You're a little guy. There we go. I think that's our first frog. We don't have anything else hiding, right? Yep, okay. It is after 11. It's time to check out these duck race things. Where's Daisy? Oops. Where are you? Okay. Oh, there you are. I thought you said behind the aquarium. You want to know what's up with that pigeon in here, wondering about? I'm not too sure myself, to be honest. The little thing just showed up one day and wouldn't leave. That pigeon seems to want something different every day. I just gave up. Maybe you could try to gain their trust. Okay, I thought we were here for races. I am a little confused. Ah, here we go. Would you like to participate in the Duck Race Festival? Yes. Thank you everyone for coming to this year's duck race. Daisy, why don't you take it from here? With pleasure. Looks like we have a full turnout today. This festival is as popular as ever. Bram's not here. Nor is Pete. Where's Amy? All right, I get it. Anyway, there aren't enough rubber ducks to go around, so luckily not everyone showed up. As you know, everyone will get to choose a duck, and it'll be a tight and exciting race around the channel. Hersha will be handling registration, so speak with her to choose your duck. We have some great prizes this year. The top 3 will win something. Any questions? What are these rocks for? Oh, I forgot. Due to overwhelming feedback last year, that the race was too boring. Sigh. This year, participants can take a stone and throw it into the water to mix things up a bit. And with that, let the fun begin. Okay. So... maybe I talk to Daisy? No, Hersha. Would you like a yellow duck? Do I get a choice? How about a blue duck? Can I get a red one? I don't like pink. Well, that's all the colors. Okay, well, yellow it is. Yes. Your duck has been selected. Talk to Daisy to start the race. I was kind of hoping they'd give me a red one or something, or a purple one. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my gosh, what do I do? Oh. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I don't seem to be controlling it. So... Oh! Okay, I see here. I see. I'm learning. I'm learning. They're coming. Oh, darn it. My timing is real bad. Oh, I kind of stopped the one that was in front of me. Oh, well. Okay, I think that's it. What an exciting race. We have our winners and I'll announce them now. Coming in a close third, the winner is Nienna. In second place, congrats goes to Finn. And in first place, the crown goes to Ren. If you place in the top 3, you will be sent a prize through the mail, so please keep an eye out for it. Thank you for everyone who participated this year. I have to admit, the throwing stones made for some exciting moments. See you all at next year's duck race. Well, that was an interesting little mini game. All right, let's finish out the day, and then we will say our goodbyes for the day. Okay. No, I could go back. I could go this way. I don't need to go to the museum. So are you gonna make anything for me? Oh, 2 days, 15 hours. Okay. So it takes a few days to make stuff, it looks like. Get those going. I wonder if I can put coal in the furnaces, or these guys. No? I wish they would... Hold on, let me check this sign. Ah, here we go. Ah, I need ore and coal together. I can't just put them in separately. Okay. Ooh, that's how you make a black brick. Brick and coal. Interesting. Okay, good to know. We're figuring it out. Oh, let's keep this organic paper piece. Get those. And we're still working on that weather contraption. What else do I need for that? I can't remember off the top of my head. I do wish that it listed it in the quest itself. That would be handy. Let's go check out her home, or her workbench. I think it's right here. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Oh, we need 5. Okay, we can do rope. We can do 5 rope. How many rope do we have? Don't have any. Okay. Let's maybe... Maybe I should have made a couple of spinning wheels. I'm gonna save the maple tree seeds for more taps. I'm gonna make some more taps, I think, down the road. Oh, is that a brick? You ready? Okay. Got that spinning. Okie dokie. Oh, a fern tree pod. That's new. Drop that off at the museum if they stay open. Oh, they're right here. That is so convenient. I think it would be on this side. Yes. Another one for the collection. That makes me so happy. Some more young berries. Oh, good. Another rope. That targeting. My goodness. Okay, I don't know why I did that. I was going to put more in. And then grab some shells. Let's crush some more shells. Get some more bricks. Paper seeds. We'll sell these 3 things, and then I think we're gonna go ahead and call it since I have to take off. We'll go to sleep now. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Sorry, it's a bit of a shorter stream today, but you know, real life stuff happens. But yes, thank you so much for joining me. If you like what you saw, please consider giving me a follow. I'd love to see you back here again. And if you would like to support the channel, consider maybe subscribing. We have some subscriber perks like special emotes, ad-free viewing, extra, what are they called? Channel points. Sorry, my brain just stopped there for a second. Extra channel points to spend on neat little rewards, and there are more to come. I just recently got to affiliate a lot faster than I expected, so I'm kind of playing catch up and trying to work on implementing more stuff for subscribers and for followers, and this is a very exciting time. If you'd like some more information about me and the channel and things going on here, check out the About tab here on Twitch. If you want to stay in the loop of any sort of schedule changes or any cancellations or anything, I post those over on Blue Sky. I'm Niana SLC over there. Give that a follow. But yeah, I think I am considering doing kind of a bonus stream on Saturday because I have an open weekend. It'll be sometime. I'm not exactly sure when. I'll try to post when I decide what time, but I think we'll do some Guild Wars 2 shenanigans, go back there because we have good times there. And then on Monday, we will be going back to Guild Wars 2 to continue working with Phlox and going through the core story with her. And I'm not sure what we're going to play for our rotating game next week, but I will make a decision this weekend, and I'll post when I post my schedule every weekend. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.